political risk analyst Ross Feingold, who joins us now live from Taipei. Thank you so much, Ross, for joining us on the program. There have been 29 school shootings this year alone. Why is it that the U.S. is facing this problem more than any other country?
Unfortunately, this is a long-running problem in the United States with school shootings. But as we know, there is still a significant, frankly, amount of support for gun rights in the United States, and that does allow guns to be in circulation. And whether it's adults or teenagers, unfortunately, bad actors do get their hands on weapons, and we do have these unfortunate cases of school shootings. But one thing we know from these incidents, whether it's this year or earlier ones, it's extraordinarily difficult to bring about significant changes in many states or at the federal level to have greater regulation on access to guns. So unfortunately, when these incidents occur, it reopens the conversation. But we also have to deal with the reality, again, that there is significant support for gun rights in the United States.
Ethan Crumbley has been charged as an adult. He faces charges on murder, assault, and weapons, along with one count of terrorism. What do you make of how the justice system has handled this particular case compared to other similar cases?
Well, often, and I think it's the trend, when these school shootings do involve someone who, according to the applicable state law, can be prosecuted as an adult, I think generally we do see the police and the prosecutors, they're doing their job, but again, it's after the fact, right? It's not preventing the shootings from happening, but after the fact, I think they'll prosecute to the extent of the law, absent other circumstances, such as, for example, an insanity defense. But again, it doesn't go to the prevention side. And on the prevention side, we could have training, and it is a trend in the United States, however sad it is, to train school administrators as well as students to do evacuations or to safely remain inside a classroom. They do these kinds of exercises nowadays. We could have metal detectors. We could have even security guards frisking students when they enter the campus. But in many places, there's just not an appetite for that kind of crackdown on just the freedom of movement within the school campus itself.
It all really comes down to gun laws in the U.S., doesn't it? Crumbley's father had purchased this gun. Do you think the U.S. needs to bring in more strict measures on gun sales? And how would that happen with how the U.S. justice system works?
Well, keeping in mind that a lot of this regulation is within the purview of the state governments, it's just unlikely. There is not the amount of support from the voters or from the elected representatives to dramatically change where the United States or where each state is today. There are a few exceptions, a few states where the voters are more progressive and usually elect Democrats, and there are some states with more strict gun laws. But most states, that's just not going to happen. So again, we have to deal with the reality of that. There might be some tinkering around the edges of gun regulation, but when it comes to, say, for example, a confiscation or requiring people to turn in the guns that are already in circulation, that's just not going to happen in the United States. And the support to make that change just doesn't exist. And on the other hand, the support for maintaining the current framework where people do have relatively easy access to purchase guns for recreational use, hunting, target shooting, that's going to remain. And as difficult as it is for people outside the United States to believe that sometimes, that's just part of the United States. And for many people, it's grounded in the Constitution as well, that the ability to purchase guns is a right.
All right, Ross Feingold, political risk analyst there for us in Taipei. Thank you so much for joining us here on the NewsHour.